Wait for it.
Life has been crazy, just wanna be okay. How can I pick up the pieces when everything breaks with every day? I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me. Everything's changing, just trying to navigate. Oh, I keep on believing I'm gonna find my way with every day. I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me, me, me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me.
Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back to me. It is an FHumpires live stream. Let me know if everything is working because, look, the layer of dust that I had to blow off my live streaming software was pretty thick. I was like, it was some serious spring cleaning to be done. Apparently last February. I shouldn't even admit to it. I should just pretend it's just been a hot minute and that's about it. But there you go. I have no idea. I got really confused trying to, I don't know if you know, I was trying to decipher this one. What? I just can't. I can't. Somebody can translate that for me. And there you go. Yeah, this is interesting. Everybody's got a number except Quentin. You don't have a number. Good to see you. Thank you very much. And I just want to draw some special attention to King Charles here. What are you doing with your life? Also, I will mention this, although, that there is a certain New Zealander who drew my attention a few years ago because he did exactly what you are doing right now and watched every single What Up Wednesday. And I'm just going to say that he's turned into a mighty fine umpire and turning into a pretty freaking skilled umpire coach. So if you're doing this stuff, you are on the right track. Just saying. I hope. He was probably going to be all those things anyway, but there you go. Rupert, good to see you. That is fabulous. And you're not okay. Oh, look, there are going to be so many mishaps tonight. Please, this is going to be a judgment-free zone. And the other thing I want you to keep in mind is that not only is the software rusty, but this is rusty. It has been a long time since I've talked to a piece of glass in this sort of way and tried to keep an eye on the comments. And tried to think on my feet. And so this wasn't a, oh, let's just ease in with a few easy clips. No, no, no. We're just going to dissect the rules of hockey that just came out on February 28th at about 8 p.m., which is pretty crazy. Tom, good to see you. So, oh, wait. Oh, yes, topics. I can do this. Got it. Here's our new topics. Here's our new stinger. We're going to explain the new rules line by line. Oh my God. We're going to do the new briefing as well and review that. And then I'm going to take a few minutes to explain what's going on with the radios because it's been a thing. It's been a thing. And it explains a lot about why I've been gone for so long, actually. If you know anything about stuff, last live stream, February, March, agreed to buy a business to add to FHumpires, and then it's been a series of fun adventures ever since. So there you go. Did I not fix that? Yeah, see, there you go. 2006. There you go. Why not? I've had it on my brain because 20 years ago was the very inception of FHumpires. So if that ever comes up in your pub trivia, you now know. Okay. Let's get going because we're not going to have fun videos to watch. I'm not going to be, it's not going to be like pretty pictures of hockey players doing amazing things. Oh, was it the briefing? Yeah, okay. See, I told you it was going to happen. Let's get going. That says 2026. I did that part right. Oh, okay. Actually, let's just do this for a hot minute because woo. Yeah. Effective March 1st. Now, before we talk about any of this stuff, these rules will not apply to you in your local competition unless you happen to be playing at the World Cup qualifiers right now that started on March 1st. So I started getting the notifications around 8-ish on the Friday night. And Friday night was the 28th or the 27th. I can't remember. But my goodness, not a lot of notice. What I'm hoping to find out about later is that somebody from the rules committee is like, hey, everybody who's playing in the World Cup qualifiers in Ismailia and in Santiago, here's a little hot tip. Here's a little thing. Here's an advance notice of the changes. Because although there aren't many substantive changes, as we'll review the aerial rule, which we all knew was coming, that is one of them. That is a substantial change, I think. And a lot of the teams who are at the World Cup qualifiers have not been playing the trial in their particular competitions. So that's very important to know. Goddard still didn't have hair back in the day. I didn't help you out whatsoever. So that was Saturday, yeah. And the matches started on Sunday. So it was on the 27th that it got released. See? Still didn't quite get that right. Okay. There. Buttons work. Do you remember this from the last time that we did a whole rules thing? Because I do. I remember how we went through Draftable. This is a fabulous online service, and it's a desktop piece of software that I think costs a lot of money. But I'm using the free trial just so I can show this to you. Budget. I know how to stick within it. So yes, we are kicking back, let's see, to January 2022 for the last rule book. So it's been a long time in coming to get this done, but here it is. So I'm going to try to focus on the important stuff and not all the little grammatical things because Quentin actually posted something in our Discord server, FHumpires.com/DS, if you would like to join in the discussion there, where he went through some of the grammatical changes that got buffed up, and as a what is it? A polyglot? Is it a polyglot that speaks many languages? You're at least bilingual, Quentin, and so you're obviously very interested in these sort of things. And I gotta say, for all the grammatical fixes that have been made, I'm here for it. I'm just not going to talk about it, but I really do applaud anything that makes the grammar better. But they did spend a lot of time in the introductory section, and I hope they spent just as much time in the substantive part. So this is interesting here. Let's see, do I have it on? So giving you a little sneak preview of what's to come, that they didn't want to make substantial changes before the World Cup. And also that there might be substantial changes coming after the World Cup that will be in effect for international competition January 1st. And that's got a lot of people to tizzy thinking about penalty corner revisions. And that might be the case. Who knows? Polyglot. Oh, I was so close. Thank you. You guys are all so smart. Let's see. Oh, this is going to fold off. But they're talking about, there's a nice summary in the introduction section about the changes. And so obviously the rule changes from 2022 are it's going to be extremely different from the rule changes in 2026. But let's just, I don't know why this won't stay where it needs to stay. Maybe if I do it this way. Nope, it doesn't like that. But there's a lot of verbiage in here. But this is also interesting. Look at this. Friends of FHumpires. Simon Mason, thank you very much. Glad you're on it. Nice to see Renee as a PAF representative. Whole new slate. That's what I was trying to say. Slate. But that is one key addition. Everybody knows who Barry Dancer is, and he's got some very innovative ideas. And if you know anything about his past commentary on penalty corners and that sort of thing, he's not a fan of the penalty corner, which is why a lot of people are getting excited about the idea that we may be doing away with them, at least in the format that they're in. Okay, so there's lots of little dashes. Okay, that's not exciting. We're just going to start getting into it here. Okay. So they've updated the penalty for the captain when too many players are playing on the pitch. Okay. It's not actually saying that it must be a yellow card, because it does say inadvertently for a very short period of time. Let's not get too stressed about it. That doesn't materially affect the match, but if it does materially affect the match, it has to be a yellow card. So they're removing the discretion or the wiggle room that we would often use in domestic levels for a green card. So there you go. That's going to be one thing. That's just grammatical. And please feel free to throw in your questions, things that you notice that I haven't quite properly pointed out. This seems to be scrolling better. That's good. And that's fabulous. Okay. So Tess Howard is going to be very happy with this, that this is now enshrined in the rules, that players within a team can choose to wear shorts, a skirt, or a skirt. Regardless of gender, regardless of what anybody else is wearing. So big fan of that. I happen to like skirts, but I really like choice. And I like choice that is going to be inclusive for everybody. Okay. They've stepped up the pressure on face masks. Okay. To defend a penalty corner or penalty stroke, they recommend the face mask now. That's why I'm just never going to defend one of those again. Okay, but that's it. There's no other changes to protective equipment and clothing. And I think there's a lot of room for improvements. Okay, especially in this guidance section here. We've had discussions on past live streams. If I think back to 2006, I think it was, we did talk about how this is very ambiguous drafting, and it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. So I'm hoping that they are going to be revisiting that. It shouldn't make any substantial changes, but it should provide some clarity about whether the leg guards are part of that, whether the knee pads are part of that. If somebody wants to wear knee pads for the entire match, who cares? That should be fine. But yes. And so, Quentin, yes, local regulations will always vary these sort of things. Equipment, the periods of play can be varied, all that sort of thing. That's why you have to understand how the rules and the regulations of your competitions intersect, and how they don't overlap with other people's regulations and that sort of thing. So that regulation that requires penalty corner masks to be worn throughout the entire PC until the PC is completed has caused some issues about what happens if a player takes one off early. And Rupert, I think this is something that you pointed out in one of your clips in the server about an American defender who, as soon as the ball got, sort of clear of her own space inside the circle, ripped off her mask through it. But the penalty corner clearly wasn't over because the ball was still within the circle, and none of the other methods of completing the penalty corner had occurred. So there you go. Okay. A little fluff and buff for the match duration. Okay. Expressly saying that you can derivate from the requirement to play quarters, and what the intervals are. So it's interesting that they doubled down on this and they added some extra wording, because I know that there's a lot of coaches who aren't big fans of this. And I was listening to a Let's Stick Together podcast where Uncle Orch was on, Simon Orchard, and I thought he made a really good argument about against quarters, and how the duration of the halves actually gave teams that had more of a physical fit presence on the pitch, gave them an advantage, because you didn't have that 2-minute break where the weaker team could regroup and the momentum would catch up. The mental fatigue of not having that chance to stop and get some more instructions from your coach actually makes a significant difference at a lot of levels of play, and especially international. And I hadn't heard it really expressed that way before. I like quarters because, as an umpire who's of a certain age, I just like getting a break, because it gives me a chance to have that reset with my colleague, but totally makes sense when it's explained like that. This, let's see, what exactly what have they changed here? I think this is just sort of fluffing and buffing. In the case of award of a penalty corner without the conditions being met, in case the conditions of a bully. Yeah, this is all grammar, so that's just clear wording, which is totally fine. So things are going pretty good so far. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. But now you can see in 8.2, this has been added. And whenever you see the black bar, when you're going to review this on your own, you see the black bar, that's legalese for change in contract. So they're enshrining the stoppage of time after a goal and restarting. And that just now takes that out of international regulations and puts that into the full rules. And I think there's a lot of domestic competitions that are going to vary this, because from what I understand, it's a big imposition when you have such very constrained time blocks to get matches done, that even a 5-minute overage can have knock-on impacts for the rest of a day that a club is hosting. So there you go. Let's see what we've got here. Desperately hoping they don't push the 10-minute halftime out to recreational. Yeah, no, and obviously you can, this is where you would vary this. And let me tell you, I mean, I had a 7 or an 8-minute halftime declaration made by the players, given to me by the teams in the last match I umpired, and they all walked out after 5 minutes. And I said, thank goodness, because I'm bored already. And they were like, yeah, let's go. And that was fun. So there you go. New edition. Winning toss. Choose one, then opponent has choice. Choose the other, opponent has no choice. Choose the other. Oh, wait. How did I miss this? What rule is this? So this isn't a change. It just so happened that my cursor highlighted that. So there's no change there. Yeah, so I think we're okay on that one. Cool. Okay, grammar or clarity. Okay, obviously, obviously this is the big one. Okay, 9-10, boom. I would have liked to see this language changed from falling raised ball to falling raised pass, and then pass being a defined term. But that's fine. Hopefully that'll come in the 2027 rules of hockey. And you can't approach within 5 meters of an opponent receiving an aerial until it's been touched by the receiver. So that's a glancing contact, anything. And then the interception rules are exactly the same. Let's see. How does 8-2 interact with our desire to keep the quarters in the house to strict time? Then we're just left to card captains. Well, yeah, but we still, Stephen, have all of our management tools available to us. And it's just, it's so that we're not restarting time when the players, aren't out there and having the terrible, the result of, a ball getting put in play when half the team is still in the wrong half. It's just messy, ugly, and nothing good can come to it. But you still have all of those tools available with your whistles and your voice and all that sort of thing. And I just find that it's on us. And if we do our jobs, it shouldn't be that much of an issue. And if you're in a competition where you've now varied, what is the rule that time must be stopped after a goal is scored? And that's in the context, right? That's still in the context of that time would be stopped for most people. So it's not a time wasting exercise. Maybe not for most people, but under the rules of hockey, time would be stopped after that goal scored. So it's about getting people into place, nice and organized. And so there's a reason behind all of the madness. And we still have, if you're not stopping time for goals, you do it the same way that you did all the other years. There you go. Bob, good to see you. The number of times the coaches have requested 7 8 minutes. Yeah, they've walked out over 5. And that, I'm fine with that. We're here to serve the players, and as long as you can fit it in the time block. And if you're doing the ones and that sort of thing, they obviously get a little extra props, and they get priority. They get priority over everybody else. So there you go. Yeah, it's a tiny change, isn't it? But it has the biggest impact. So I think, and if there's anybody who'd like to go into this a little more, but my last live stream a year ago, more than a year ago, I went through what I had seen with the new aerials, and there has been nothing in the last year that's changed my mind that this is an absolutely fabulous progression of the error rule. And we are seeing fewer toss and hope balls into the circle that have turned into huge calls. Well, okay, that have turned into weird goals, exciting goals because the ball gets shelled out of midair, but weird because there's a defender who's stuck and doesn't know if they can close or not. And you're just not seeing those goals anymore. You're not seeing full-blooded out of air volleys, hits. I don't call them volleys because a volley indicates like a little bit of a bunt. These are full-blown hits. And I think it's made it a lot safer for defenders in general, as well as the goalkeepers there. Urian, good to see you, friend. Why touched instead of played by the receiver? There's a perfectly good definition for played in the definition list, right? Good question. Okay, we're going to come back to page 28 and let's just go have a look at it. Playing the ball, field player, stopping, deflecting, or moving the ball with the stick. I think that we have, yeah, that I think you're right in a sense. Make my brain break. Because a deflection would take care of all that. Yeah, I think played the ball would have been fine. Maybe they're concerned that nobody reads the definitions. But there you go. Touch is clear that, well, and I think if you added or otherwise touched, I mean, touch does cover a lot of the, we would consider touch to be on the same level as play. So you wouldn't put touch underneath play as part of the definition. Yeah, you're not wrong. And I think there's a lot of merit from a legal drafting perspective to be consistent, use the defined terms that you have. And that's what I have a problem with, back to the penalty corner protection equipment, is that it's not a defined term. And then they use different terms and it gets very, very confusing as to what applies in that case. So we can't use deflecting because we have goalies using deflect for after the back line. I'm not sure what that means. But come back to that. Okay. If anybody has any questions more about the aerial rule in practice, maybe we'll come back to that. Let's see. Oh, good to see you, friend. Touch may cover playing the ball with the body, likely accidentally. That's a really good point. There you go. Because if a player argues that they haven't played the ball because they didn't use their stick, then they can't be closed down. And then you get into a bit of a chicken and egg, who fouled first situation, potentially. Although I think you could always argue that the playing of the body happened first. That's good, but you can see some people would get their shorts in a knot about that one. So I like that. More technical terms should be defined, especially when they mean something other than just colloquial use. Yeah, absolutely. If a goalkeeper is the initial receiver, can they touch the ball with their body intentionally? Well, yes, they absolutely may. And I only went through the definition of play with field players because there isn't a definition of play for goalkeepers in the definitions, right? This is getting so nerdy. I love it. Playing the ball, field player. Correct. I'm so worried that I'm wrong about things that I'm going back to to relook at it, because the manner in which goalkeepers are permitted to play the ball is defined under Rule 10, which I am getting to. Okay. Because it's in 10A. Goalkeepers are permitted to, when they have their stick in their hand, they can use their stick and body to deflect the ball or play the ball in any other direction. And so they have a whole different set as well. So that seems fine. I think, Yurian, to go back to your argument, they would have to take out and they would have to insert a playing the ball by goalkeepers and insert that definition and then reword 10.2 to remove the redundancy. And then you could say playing the ball. Yeah, there you go. So Luke, you're on the same page as me. Okay. Is this fun? Is this fun? Okay. So that's it, 9-10. It's like our 6-7. Let's make this a thing. 9-10! 9-10! Let's not make it a thing. Right. 9-16. Nobody saw this one coming. But I think a lot of umpires are pretty happy about this one. If the ball hits a loose object on the field that has not been thrown by a player, play continues unless otherwise specified in 13. Okay. This is a big deal, because if a stick has been dropped, that is a loose object that has not been thrown. Of course, throwing could be a defined term. That would be helpful, but let's not get every single term defined. Let's see how many people screw this up. But this has always been my understanding, that if a stick is dropped, if a shin guard is dropped and the ball hits it, it's just play on. And that is going to be an adjustment for some umpires, because I've seen penalty corners getting given for this and free hits getting given for this. And players really do think this is a foul every time it happens. So I like that, because it's one of those very unearned fouls. I can understand the disadvantage argument, but no. Okay. So some grammar, that's fine. We're not bothered. So written record, that's interesting, because written is highlighted in the 2022, but the fact it's been removed hasn't been highlighted by draftable, that it's not in the 2026. So match gear, Martine, you're absolutely fine. There you go. Yeah, accidentally dropped versus thrown. I mean, at the ball. You don't even want to say at the ball, because somebody could throw something. And again, that opens the door and the discussion around Rule 13 and the penalty corner equipment, protective equipment that is removed and thrown, not just dropped. It doesn't accidentally fall out. You're taking off your mask and you're throwing it. You're throwing your gloves, all those sort of things. So, so I think that's an important distinction that you don't want to draw. But on the same spirit, 11-8, if the ball hits an umpire or an unauthorized person, what happens if it hits an authorized person on the pitch, like a photographer, a ball patrol? That's interesting. But I guess there would only be an unauthorized person on the pitch, because in order to be an authorized person, you have to be an umpire or a player. So, okay, that makes sense. Scratch that. Rewind. Never mind. Okay, before I move on, Denman, in the definition, so in the definition of is not thrown, is a player removing PC equipment that is thrown towards a baseline, then hits that is then, yes. So you're making the argument that I'm making, is that that is still thrown and should be captured under 13. Quentin, it's a shame that the scenario when this happens in the zone wasn't clearly addressed because that's where it's critical. When it's in the zone. Okay, are you talking about 11.8? There you go. Not written could also mean audio waiting recordings as a valid record. Yes. I agree. Everything digital. There you go. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness, because I'm tired of Goddard's streaking army. Okay, here's the other one. Umpires, if it hits us, play shall continue unless the contact results in advantage to one team. In such cases, the match shall be restarted with a bully. And what Quentin is referring to is a discussion that we've had in the Discord server, is that, yes, they didn't specify unless unless a penalty corner is in progress. Except you would have this long section that do note that a bully can't be awarded if a penalty corner is in progress. Therefore, another penalty corner will be awarded in this situation. There could be a tidier way of doing that, but I think it's clear from how the rules progress naturally that this doesn't preempt or it doesn't supersede the bully rules that as pertaining to penalty corners. Okay, so if anybody has a question about that, so what this means is if you as an umpire are conducting a penalty corner and the ball hits you and you need to stop play because one of the teams is going to be advantaged by it, either the ball drops to an attacker or the ball drops to a defender who wasn't otherwise going to be able to do something awesome with it, then unfortunately you can't award the bully outside because a bully can't be awarded when the penalty corner is still in progress. Okay, if you have a question, at me. Why did they it was clear beforehand. They changed this, Paul, because it really sucks when you as an umpire deflect a ball into a goal that wasn't otherwise going to be a goal, or you stop a shot that was going in the goal. It is absolutely. I think I've told the story before about how I was at the Canada West Championships in 2003. I think, holy crap, I'm so old. And I was on the pitch and my colleague deflected a ball into a goal. And it was a crucial pool game that determined which team went through to the semifinal. I mean, crucial. It's Canada West hockey. Under 21, nobody cares. And sorry to anybody who was playing at that time. And she got absolutely ripped by the team afterwards, calling her incompetent, all that kind of stuff. She was maybe half a step out of position. And it was just bad luck. She didn't umpire again at the Canadian level after that tournament. You know, that sucks. There's the famous clip from the EHL. Well, Marston's been hit like 3 times in front of the goal and changed stuff. And he was one of them. Hasn't happened to you in over 50 years? That's fabulous. I've been hit by the ball, but when I was already off the pitch and it was like shot into my legs and I couldn't get out of the way and I was really mad. But Ross, so is it a reawarded penalty corner when an umpire is hit during a PC? Yes. Yes, I can. Elish, good to see you. That's some good spam there. Good job. Okay. Phew. Right. No change there. That's the old stuff. Good. Scrolly. Okay. Grammar. Oh boy. I think we've got a change coming. This is a big block of blue. Whew. So this is sub N. Sub N. Huh. So what did they do to get to M? Okay, so they must have deleted N and placed it, or they've just omitted it. There you go. Let's see. Godders. Ball hits an umpire at PC, which otherwise would have gone off to end the PC. But what happens to the ball? So does the umpire keep the ball in play? Then that's advantaging a team. And then it's going to be another penalty corner. And otherwise. Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I think I was talking about this with someone earlier in the day. And this, I was like, I know there's going to be an instance where your intervention, because it disadvantages one team, is going to advantage the other. And this is the one. Yeah. Advantage to the attack. It seems weird. I think you're right. Yeah. You can argue that because it would have gone off, you have advantaged the attackers by the ball popping back into play. Therefore, because you would have to re-award the PC. Therefore, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, you're still stuck. You're still stuck. Does anybody see any other way around that? Please let me know, because my brain is stopped. Okay. Elish, what's my opinion about the 10-minute breaks at halftime? They're not saying that they have to be 10 minutes. They're saying that this is the rule that you then vary at your competition level. So all your local comp has to do is write in the regulations, teams shall agree to the length of their halftime break. And they could say something like minimum 5 minutes, maximum as stated by the rules of hockey. And then the teams, which is what they do now, right? So there you go. Okay, we're still going to focus on this. Good. This hitting the umpire rule, whatever the rule, yeah, whatever the rule the FH come up with, it's going to disadvantage someone. They're in a no-win situation. Yeah, I think this is better. There's more winners now, but there will be a few weird situations, which are the same as the weird situations that have been existing ever since they said you can't call a bully for anything during the progress of a PC. But at the same time, it's for most of the other circumstances, except for this one, the way that my brain is understanding it right now, the argument can always be made that a bully disadvantages the attack because they don't get their PC again. And then they don't get the same level of opportunity that they were getting whilst the ball was in the circle during that penalty corner progressing. So somebody falls and is in danger and you have to stop time just to save their life. Well, it's not fair to the attackers that they can't continue to press that attack inside the circle. So yes, someone is always screwed in that sense. Okay, is there anything else? With your back to the baseline, How can you be certain it would have gone out? Well, hopefully you've got a good sense. There you go. Yeah, but what? But the thing is if the ball hits you and it pops out and would have bounced to and bounces to an attacker, and otherwise it would have gone off, and it could have gone off for a 23-meter restart or a 15-meter restart, then you've advantaged the attack, and because now they get to keep playing. So maybe in your head you've got to think about whether that continuing to let the ball go is a worse opportunity than a pounded corner or not, because that's what you're essentially making a decision on. Yeah, you could potentially play on. Are you going to be able to make that choice in that moment? That's going to be fair. Obviously, if it bounces to an unmarked attacker with a nice open goal, well, you're going to say, no, PCO reaward is worse, is a lesser opportunity than that. Therefore, I'm going to reaward it. But if it bounces out to an attacker who is, deep on the baseline, out at the tee, and, has somebody closing in on him right away, then maybe you could say, yeah, I think the defenders have a good chance there. That's going to take some pretty good chatting to explain to teams why you didn't reaward the PC. You can probably do that, but there you go. Yeah, your girl is back. Nice to see you again. Let's see. What was the regular break in the last rules? It wasn't in the rules of hockey. She says, not believing herself. Let me know. And yes, your local regulations, have been in place to enforce different halftimes. It'll be in a tournament regulation as to how long the halftimes usually are to get that. So yeah, Goldie. What if neither team was within playing distance of the ball when it bounces off the umpire? Then you're saying no team is disadvantaged. Therefore, we're just going to play on. Okay, but the concept of disadvantaged is going to be a little bit broader than just whether a team was within playing distance of that, because a team can get within playing distance of it in rapid fashion when it's, say, inside the circle. So yeah, consider that. But if it doesn't advantage anybody, then you can just play on as you did before. So I see Paul's point now, Paul Harriman's point about how it was more clear before. It was less of a decision for us to make. But it gives us the opportunity to redress the really bad things that make umpires feel bad, that make teams angry, that change results in games. And that has to be considered more important than burdening us with one more decision, I would think. Okay, who did I miss? Elish, you had another question. I think this is a good time to, how do you judge a legal appeal to an umpire? I have no idea what, I don't know if you're asking me whether there are times when players shouldn't be asking questions of the umpire, and that's most of the time. Because they're not asking questions, they are arguing with decisions. But I don't know what an illegal appeal is. I don't know if you might be speaking about video referral situations specific to international hockey. Let me know what you really want me to get into on that one. So yeah, well, think of it this way. If you're in the circle and the ball hits you and goes into the goal, or the ball hits you and then it deflects off the back line, you've got a dead ball situation and you're going to have time to think about it. That's the good news. I think when it really matters and you're in super panic stations, you'll have a chance to go, oh, the ball's off. You know what? Boop. I'm going to stop time. Thought, and you'll be able to work it out if you need that much time. So I think that'll be there. Okay. Let's dive through this one. What are we at? Oh my God, it's already 8:18. Oh no, sorry. I thought I'd started at 7, but I started at 7:30. Still, this is very long. Okay. Yes, Paul, this is, as you pointed out, a lot of the section that was part of Let me put your comment up from 2.4. So it's an interesting approach because it gives us, I think, more clarity that this is a foul rather than being something that we just have to guide or give warning language about, as some of the other sections about, can't play with blood on their clothing and things like that. We don't award fouls for that, but we can for this. So, no suitable opportunity. They must remove all. Primary objective is safety. We know all this. Okay. Free hit shall be awarded if it happens. Yep, this is all the same. Sorry, I'm not reading things out loud because I think that's annoying. Do you want me to read it out loud? Following a penalty corner, this is where things get different. Okay, so let's study this one. Following a penalty corner, it's considered dangerous and negligent behavior if a defender throws any protective equipment and it strikes an opponent and umpire strikes any person outside the field of play. Okay, so this is been taken completely out of Rule 11. It's been taken out of 916. Can I just go back to 916 if you don't mind? Okay, so what they've done is they've taken this and moved it to whatever 13 point something n. Okay, and this has been added to just talk about loose objects. So even though this still talks about throwing, it would be nice if it didn't. Oh, sorry, this still talks about throwing. Must not throw. They've at least attached that, and I think that's probably a good move. I think there's room for more clarity on that. Okay, but this whole understanding of the yellow card and the team penalties that to be awarded have not until this point been at all addressed in the rules of hockey, which has made it really tricky. When the first time that we saw this get talked about at the international level was when Cato Wenzel from Chile got hit in the face by a German defender down in Argentina and just absolutely cut open, had to leave the game, and Bruce Bale came into the match. Was it Bruce? Yeah. And they didn't award any sanctions for that. And then they were informed, word came from the FH to the tournament officials, to the umpiring team, that was supposed to be a yellow card, a 5-minute yellow card, and a re-awarded penalty corner. And it wasn't, and that's a big deal, a big switch. And now it's been part of our understanding that we've been trying to get across to players and coaches, because we just wholesale adopted it weirdly at all domestic levels. when you think about it, did it get put in anybody's regulations? No, we just started doing it. And I wasn't sure that it should be part of it. But at least now we know, or at least when the rules are instituted by your national association, they're there. So it's very clear in such cases when it's negligent, well, it's considered dangerous and negligent if a defender throws a protective equipment and it strikes an opponent, an umpire strikes any other person outside the field of play. It must be a yellow card. Okay, it doesn't say 5 or 10, but I guess you've got room for potential egregiousness. But there's now this disclaimer. Sorry, I was reading it before I started talking. If the player, it's dangerous and negligent if the player is struck on or above the knee in a normal stance. Okay. If time and player stop for this reason, the ball's outside the circle, blah, blah, blah. Player start with a free hit. So now we've got information as to what we do when the ball actually isn't in the circle. We're just going to give a free hit, which I think is fair. Still going to be a yellow card. And the free hit is awarded to the opposing team where the ball was. If the ball was inside the circle, it's a penalty corner, unless the conditions of 12.4 are met, in which case a penalty stroke shall be awarded. Right. Let's talk about that. So what it has to be, under what conditions, well, I mean, we can go into 12.4, but I think a penalty stroke is awarded for an intentional foul against an attacker who has possession or likely possession of the ball, or an unintentional foul that stops a probable goal from being scored. How would throwing a mask and striking someone, presumably on the pitch, above the knee, invoke any of those situations? Because if it's an intentional foul against a player who's got the ball and you throw the mask and you hit that person, that's not just a yellow card. Right? Not sure. Okay, Urian, I'm going to get back to your question in a second. 13.5 still says from self-pass explicitly prohibited. Yeah, that's still there. Oh, you were looking at the old document. Okay, I will unstar your comment. Because there's a big difference between dangerous and negligent. And I've got a draft video from October that explains all this stuff. The difference between dangerous negligence and malicious intent and pure accident, because those are all three very different things. If you throw an object at someone in the course of play, even, that is not hockey. Even if play is going, it is akin to hitting somebody with your stick. That is a red card. And then you would give a penalty stroke and the red card. Okay. Is that what they're saying? Does anybody have any argument with that? Please let me know. Okay. Just making sure I haven't missed anything else. Okay. Anything there? I'll wait. Because That was a big pronouncement. Oh, sorry. My scrolling isn't going very well. I'll try to get back to the section so you can see it on the screen. Wrong browser tab. Yeah, it was Bruce. Yeah. So your own team is fair game. Yep. Go ahead. Hit them all you want. No, you can't. Well, no, not on the pitch, but you can throw a mask and hit somebody who's off the pitch. Or it strikes an opponent, an umpire, or it strikes any other person outside the field of play. Because it's possible for an umpire to be outside the field of play. It's possible for a player to be outside the field of play temporarily because they've run and they've passed off a ball and they've gone tumbling or something like that. So I think that's something to keep in mind. In your defense, yeah, there's probably not a lot of consistency there, Urine, about black bars. You feel that negligent is superfluous. Dangerous is enough and easier to define. Yeah. I see what you're saying. But I think the benefit that we have with using negligent is that it can capture a nuance. And I know that it's, maybe this is my legal bias coming out, but for me, negligence is a very well-defined concept. And it's one that helps us distinguish between, as I was saying, purely accidental and actually malicious, intentional behavior. And I don't think a lot of players understand the difference between what is something can be accidental and negligent at the same time because you haven't taken care to prevent the accident. Something that is purely coincidence accidental. Two players looking in totally different directions and colliding because neither of them knew the other one was there. That is purely accidental, but you can have somebody who doesn't intend their action, and that can still be negligent. And that concept of negligence is what we're penalizing when we talk about recklessness as the result of breaking down play. So, no, I don't think it's implying any responsibility outside of the sport context. No, I think it just helps inform it if you're an English speaker. I've got my law degree always in my back pocket. It's just, it's even dustier than my live streaming software though. There you go. Careless throw of the mouse that hits an attacker about to shoot in the head, then puts them off their shot. Penalty stroke. But that's not a probable goal. That is not an unintentional foul that stops a probable goal. The ball has to be headed to the goal and stopped from going in the goal for it to be a probable goal. Okay? People get confused about that concept. Yeah, Phil, you dislike how it explicitly states a yellow card and should say at least a yellow card. Good. Yeah, I did make a good point. And then, yeah, you've been there. You've been there, Rupert. Yeah. It's negligent not to look where you're throwing a mask. It's accidental throw it where you can see no one, but they happen to be running fast from. Yeah, that's a good explanation. It's accidental when they run from outside your field of view and you had no potentially. It could be accidental. Let's say it could be accidental because you still have to exercise a lot of care. You have to understand you've got this object that can hit other people, and it's your responsibility to look. Okay? Now that I say it out loud, I disagree with you and myself. Okay. 13-5. 13-5. Well, I think we're getting back to this point. That Urian made about the from the circle, as opposed to outside the circle, which some people, and I got this question quite often, and I just had to say, look, I know what the answer is, even though I can't support it under the rules, that from the circle indicates that it alludes to it being in a single direction. No, it alludes to the distance that it would travel, would it go in one direction, is more than 5 meters. You can see why they're using the word from, because any way you try to explain the word from as opposed to outside the circle, you say a lot of words and nobody's going to understand them. Okay? But I like that. Yes, well, agree. But think of all the money that the equipment manufacturers are going to lose. They're going to be so sad. Okay, rules. Play R is okay, more clarity. Whoops. More clarity in sub D about the penalty stroke. I like this rewording. Again, they're not looking to make substantial changes, so this shouldn't change the way that we've been dealing with penalty strokes. And what this is specifying is that the beginning of the stroke is when the whistle is blown to start the penalty stroke. So that's when a player's feet have to be in the right position. So that gives you an opportunity, and that's in the briefing, which we're not going to get to tonight because we've already been going for an hour. But we will go through the briefing and the highlights thereof in a future episode. That means I have to come back. Oh no. And there's guidance, new guidance in the new briefing about how this is something to manage beforehand, just like feet of injectors or defenders on penalty corners. You should be doing that before you blow your whistle to begin the penalty corner. You should be doing this from the penalty stroke. And yes, the outside, if you've got dotted lines, very easy. You're absolutely right. Okay. So they've added the word penalty stroke. So stop calling it a stroke. Stop calling it a flick. It's not. Penalty stroke, penalty stroke, penalty stroke. Yeah, they've added that word a lot. And that's good because that accords that term with the understanding of what a penalty stroke is. Okay. So just a little technicality, instead of it being a goal or a goal scored, is that it's not that a goal is scored, it's just the ball has entered the goal. So I like that because a goal indicates that it's legal and it should be awarded. So they've removed that. That's good. And there we go. Break, halftime interval. And I bet you any money, I'm just gonna, yep. Oh, they have made a change in the guidance to umpiring skills. None of the ones that should be made, but they have added communication after cooperation as a main skill. Congratulations. Everything else under this section is, if it still applies to modern hockey, that's sheer coincidence. Made it digital for access to the current rule book. Congratulations. 2026. Including good eye contact through the match. Yeah, that's just a rewording. Okay, that's grammar. Nobody cares. Yeah. So unfortunately, that is the section I'd like to spend all the time in, because that's where I make my bread and butter. That's where I make umpires good, is in helping with the umpiring objectives and umpiring skills and signals and all that sort of thing. This needs to be changed, or just bloody well remove it, because it's not helpful. Oh yeah. I mean, there you go. Is the communication edition irony? Is that Alanis Morissette irony or real irony? I don't know which. Okay. Well, friends, that is what is the the changes to the rules of hockey. What do you think? And again, that is just what has been basically just a quick addressing of things. I guess they just didn't want one more year to pass, and they decided that they could do this before the World Cup, because not very much is substantially changed except for the aerial rule, which they think by regulation, most of the international competitions, all the ones that I know about, but that doesn't mean that it's possible that I've missed some, that they've been playing the aerial trial. They introduce it every time. So that's good to know. I'll just speak a very quick word about the radios, because it's worth it. Wait. 3. Yeah, I have missed a thing here, but I think I can save it. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Okay. What I wanted to point out to all of you, because there's a lot of people who might watch this on replay, not necessarily people who are here live, that I have been going through an existential crisis with the radios, because this manufacturer of these radios, EJEAS, decided to discontinue the 3.5 millimeter port jack on their radios. And much like the FIH, didn't communicate it to me. Not that they owed me it specifically, but I was quite taken by surprise when I was no longer able to order when I tried to place an order for 3.5 millimeter. And I understand that it's a good idea to get to modern technology. USB-C technology is not exactly new, so it's good because it can potentially carry data and all that sort of thing. But here was the problem that I was running into, is that EJEAS equipped their radios with a very specific USB-C port that is not compatible with third-party accessories. So that meant that if, for example, you were one of the approximately 70% of my customers who want to use air tube mics with USB-C radios, you couldn't, because EJEAS doesn't make USB-C air tubes. They don't make air tubes, period. They think everybody should be using boom mics, which is hilarious, because no. If you use a boom mic, again, it's all about choice. You can wear a skirt, you can wear shorts, you can wear an air tube, you can wear a boom mic. I just know what I like, and I know what works for me. Definitely an air tube. So what that put me in a position of was trying to scramble for alternatives. And for some time, I was looking at a bunch of different radios. As it turns out, there is a gentleman in the Netherlands who has managed to reverse engineer an EJEAS specific USB-C 3.5 millimeter adapter, which has the configuration, the specific pin configuration that EJEAS needs in order for it to work. And for some reason, they're selling them the parts to do it. So it's all working out. So I have an alternative. So I am going to be, and I have all of the radios on pre-order sale right now because they are being ordered as we speak. So we're going to be okay. And hopefully at some point, I'm going to talk to this, to Erwin, my new best friend. I swear to God, I'm sending him the most expensive bottle of whatever it is that he drinks that I possibly can. I'm going to talk him into manufacturing his own USB-C air tubes so that no adapters are needed. But that is the state of the union. That's where we're at. So if you've been waiting to order RefComs, if you've been waiting to order the V6s, if you've ordered V6s off Amazon, sir, ma'am, and you couldn't use them with your air tubes, you can come buy an adapter now. There you go. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So as you know, Mr. Milford is our chief fulfillment officer, and we're going to have a lot of work to do to make sure that people are buying what they actually want and what they actually need for the components they have. Who knows? Who knows? It's going to be chaos, but hopefully, Nick, no. There you go. Yes, they make USB-C. Oh, USB-C booms to 3.5 millimeters. No, disconnect your buzzer. I'm not doing it. That's not funny. I don't like that. I don't like that comment. I'm removing it from the broadcast. And so, yes. And by the way, the whole sale thing is because if you're willing to pre-order from me, I'm going to give you a little bit of a break because I need the cash because I just put in a mammoth order. It hurts. It hurts so much. I'm so nervous. So yes, please pre-order now. Help my cash flow situation. And that has been taken care of. So there you go. We'll go through the briefing next time. We'll go through clips. If you have seen things, if you're watching the World Cup qualifiers right now, there are 3 tournaments going on right now that you could be getting your eyeballs onto on watch.hockey. Please go to watch.hockey and buy your year pass. And I know it's money and I know it's a lot, but watching as much hockey as you can is going to help you so much with your umpiring. Very, very important. There could be things that you're noticing. Come into the Discord server, FHumpires.com/DS. Do I have a sting for that? Do I have a sting? Do I have a Discord? No, I don't. Promo? Nope. I was checking. Come on in and point it out, and it might make it to a live stream next time. And then yes, well, we're always excited about clips because we have our own Simon Plant, who is the designer, maker, manufacturer, creative genius behind Flintstone Cottage 3D and Flintstone 3D, and is the person responsible for the amazing clips that are now going out with all of our radios. And I have heard nothing but great reports about them, so I'm very glad. It would, who would you have to be nice to get an AirTube earpiece with a boom mic? You mean to exchange the actual piece that goes in your ear canal? Send me a message. You did good work tonight as a moderator. There you go. And sorry, do I ship the 3.5 millimeters to Germany? Yep, absolutely. Give me a shout. And let's make sure that they work with the radios that you have. I mean, it's a low commitment shipping thing. It's not like I have to send a big box. I can send it in an envelope, but yeah, we can work that out. Okay. It's been more than a Keeley hour. Some things never change, but this was not What Up Wednesday. This was The Breakdown live, and I'm so glad that many of you chipped in and gave me things to think about, held my feet to the fire, and actually hung out with me through what is got to be one of the nerdiest, perhaps most boring, except for us folks, kind of live stream in the world. Um, that was really great, and I think I might do it again. There you go. Um, I'm gonna try to end the stream properly. I have a feeling that I'm not gonna do it very well, but let's see what happens. And oh no, see, this is less than a Keeley hour. Oh yeah, it has been less than a Keeley hour. Okay, see, I can do good stuff. I can do good stuff, but I can't find my end screen because for some reason, I know what happened. Okay, let's see what happens if I press this. Bye, everybody.